We gon' lift off like a jetpack. Time to tune in, not just speaking real facts. Right here is everything you need. This ain't no get rich quick thing. Create your own economy. Cause we ahead of the crypto curve. Yeah. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve. Yeah. Learn from the queen of crypto, your host, Najah Roberts, leading people out of financial slavery through Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires, one family at a time, one day at a time, one Bitcoin at a time, one Satoshi at a time. And ladies and gentlemen, that means you. I am your host, Najah Roberts, and it is my mission in life to lead my people out of financial slavery. I don't just do this show to change the way you think about money, but to change the way you look at money and everything else around you because it absolutely matters. Today is Friday, March 24th, 2023. And what an incredible day it is. And ladies and gentlemen, I am in the spirit of Malcolm X by any means necessary. We're going to get this information out to our community because we have got a lot of great things to talk about this Friday. First and foremost, let me say happy birthday to the one cryptopian that we could find today whose birthday is today, and her name is Janelle Koger. And to Janelle Koger, I want to say to you, happy birthday. Thank you for being a listener of KBLA. We look forward to helping you today. Enjoy your day, but also we hope that your day is filled with all the love, joy, peace, and happiness you deserve on this day. And this is also Women's History Month. And as you know, this entire month, we are really paying homage to those women that crypto. And so today we have Christina Lamazzo, and she leads the blockchain project's efforts at UNICEF. At UNICEF, she oversees the blockchain and cryptocurrency initiatives, which is really important. But before joining UNICEF, she worked with various levels of government in Canada who were using blockchain. And I want you all to listen to this because Canada is using blockchain, and it's really important that, again, America starts to catch themselves up so we don't fall so far behind. But Christina also wrote her master's thesis on how global banks were responding to blockchain. And it's interesting in that paper to see how far behind the United States is actually falling as it relates to other countries and things of that sort. And so, in our stance to be the most important country in this entire world, we really have got some catching up to do. And so, some of the things that we're going to talk about today are really kind of pointing to this fact. And so, again, what do we need to do as a community? What do we need to do as an individual? So, we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. And so, we're going to also do our cryptocurrency quote. And this quote comes from Elizabeth Warren, of all people. And so I can't say as though there has been anything that Elizabeth Warren and myself have come eye to eye on as it relates to the stigma that they are trying to place on the cryptocurrency community. Because this quote right here that she just said yesterday absolutely follows the same scenario that I've been sharing with you all, because they're putting out just making the cryptocurrency community seem as though we are perpetrating all sorts of things and that people are running to our defense. And I'm going to just tell you, her quote says, "It's no wonder the American people are skeptical of a system that holds millions of struggling students, loan borrowers in limbo, but steps in overnight to ensure that billions of dollars for crypto firms won't lose a dime in deposits." And again, it's no wonder the American people are skeptical of a system that holds millions of struggling student loan borrowers in limbo, but steps in overnight to ensure that billion-dollar crypto firms won't lose a dime in deposits. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this quote was absolutely terrible because the no one stepped in overnight to ensure that billions of dollars of crypto firms wouldn't lose a dime, but that money on deposit was far from being cryptocurrency firms. And so when we come forward, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a conversation about exactly what was at Silicon Valley Bank because it was not the depositors that were cryptocurrency companies that were bailed out and saved overnight. When we come forward, this is KBLA Talk 1580.
Never in history have we been in a position where so many things are coming together at one time. And I talk about all the time this being the perfect storm. Don't let Kraken or Binance or any of those platforms keep your cryptocurrency, because if they go under or if they get hacked, your coin goes with it. I'm standing here letting you know that that has happened to us, and we did not get that money back. The regulators, even if they find out who they're supposed to go after, you know what they're telling those of us who lost money or lost Bitcoin on an exchange? They're going to give us 30% of our value. Well, now Bitcoin is 57,000. Are you giving us 30% of that 57,000 or 30% of what it was back when we lost it? And that was pennies. So that's what they're doing in this space, but somebody's got the Bitcoin and gone away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to continue. I'm doing my show through my cell phone because something is blocking the transmission to the radio station. But we're not going to let that deter us, right? So we're going to make this happen. So I appreciate each and every one of you. This is what we do by any means necessary. All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. As we seek to make sure that you get the facts about that actual quote that was out there, I still want to just continue to let you all know that how the government, how several members of different three-letter and four-letter organizations seek to make cryptocurrency companies look like we're the bad guys in this thing, especially putting are making a comment such as this and just putting us or pitting us against the hundreds and I'm going to say hundreds of millions of people struggling with student debt, saying that those individuals are struggling, which they are, and they're being held in limbo, which they are, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the cryptocurrency firms, and mine being one of them. So I take offense to the fact that they're saying that cryptocurrency firms are what are getting the bailouts as opposed to the students and their loans and those sorts of things. Because I submit to you today, if you Google what companies were actually at Silicon Valley Bank, you will find out that none of those huge depositors were cryptocurrency firms whatsoever. In fact, I decided to pull so you can know just a couple of those names. And so you can start to see how they are building a narrative up against the cryptocurrency market because they don't want it to flourish. And they want people to have animosity against the cryptocurrency firms, but they also want to cut off the on ramps to allow us to take our hard earned money and do what we want to do with it, which is put it into Bitcoin or different cryptocurrencies, or whatever we choose. And so, one of the number one, I told you all last week when we were talking about this, that Etsy had a massive amount of money at Silicon Valley Bank, but also Roku. We have companies like Bill Holding and Rocket Labs and Ginkgo and Roblox. For any of you that have children or grandchildren, Roblox was holding $150 million in, $150 billion in Silicon Valley Bank. That is not a cryptocurrency company. Neither is Chew or Shattuck Labs or IBO Biotech or Lending Club or Vimeo. Some of you that are familiar with videos, Vimeo had an account at this bank. And this had nothing to do with cryptocurrency, but they want to make you think it's had something to do with cryptocurrency. And so, I just wanted to, make sure that everybody is setting the record straight because I heard a couple of news outlets that were talking about her quote and saying, and really trying to put that information out there that cryptocurrency companies were actually bailed out in this situation. But let's talk about the failed banks and how these banks are actually structured and what the banking models actually look like. And so, since we're on that conversation and we've had a lot of people with a lot of questions about understanding exactly what's going on with the bank, and I know that all of these things ultimately will help us understand more about money, how it works, what we need to do moving forward. We are really looking at some different things that are happening just this week specifically that have actually helped the price of Bitcoin, and it's helping people understand more and more why decentralization and a new type of system, banking system, absolutely has to happen. And to understand what's really going on, the banking business model, which we've never ever really talked. I mean, we've talked about it, but we haven't broke everything down so that you really understand what's happening. Because over the last couple of weeks, there have been some other things that they've not talked about as to how the feds are adding things to their balance sheets right now. And so just understanding that banks are basically highly leveraged in the bond funds. And we talked about bond funds. We talked about why some of these banks have failed because they've had to sell some of their bonds at a discount because bonds that they were holding were performing less than some of the newer bonds that are out. And so, why would somebody buy an old bond with less interest when they could buy a higher bond with higher interest? And so, the banks had to liquidate. And when they have to liquidate, that means that the depositors don't directly know that they're losing money, but they lose money because they don't have the money for those depositors because they've made a bad investment. And so, these banks, again, the business model is strictly this, and we can, people can argue different ways, but I'm just going to give you the basic part. They're highly leveraged bond funds, of course, with payment services attached, and we actually treat it as normal to keep our savings in the bank, and we always have for hundreds of years, right? All banks follow this model. People deposit money in the bank. The banks leverage it for profit. We know that. When we put the money in, it's not the same $100 that we pull out. Although nothing is wrong with this model, or has not been wrong with this model in the past, it is not always going to turn out right, which has been demonstrated in the last events over the last couple of weeks. And the assumption that banks are always safe is really, ladies and gentlemen, flat out wrong, unfortunately. And occasionally, more times than not, it has been catastrophic in consequences. And that's what we're going to see a little bit more of. We saw that in 2008, 2009, and here we are, fast forward to 2023. And I'm sure that we're going to see some more of those. So as we move into understanding things, there were supposed to be some new banks that came along just recently that were seeking to hold deposits for customers, just as a bank would do, but as a de risk for the consumer. And what that meant is the consumer would be fully reserved and their accounts will be held at the Federal Reserve, of course, which serves as a central bank in the United States. But since the Fed has access to infinite money because they can print it, it would pay interest on deposits as opposed to doing all that other stuff that they do with our money. This new bank could actually pass on some of the interest to the customers. And so if you wonder why you put your money in the bank, I don't care how much it is, that you don't get massive amounts of interest like they collect, is because that is how the Federal Reserve structure has been put together. Again, when you go back and listen to some of my past recordings, you know that the Federal Reserve Bank, a private entity, they really have a monopoly on how much money is given back to those depositors because everyone is constantly agreeing that no one bank will give more interest to the other. And so the new kid on the block comes in with this great idea to make it great for the consumers to be able to participate in this, what we call de-risk bank. But this model, so you all can look at it, is called narrow banking. And these proposals have existed for many years. However, ladies and gentlemen, again, fact check me, do not believe me. The feds refuse to allow these types of banks to operate, forcing all consumers in the United States to use this unstable system that we're in right now, which is where they're taking our money, buying things that they may or may not have. They may not have to sell at a discount, which just it hits everything. Our 401ks, all of those things are are going to suffer just based on some of the decisions that these bankers are making. So amid this ongoing bank failure, regulators must not only answer right now for why they didn't see this coming, which they should have knew it was coming, but also why they blocked the free market for banking services from operating and forcing us as consumers into these risky esoteric financial constructs that we don't have any knowledge about, we have no control over, when all we want to do is deposit our savings somewhere safe and go on with our lives. And they know that we're going to go on with our lives. We're not going to pay much attention to what's going on until situations like this last couple of weeks has happened. And so what is happening, what's in the news right now that we need to know about all of this banking stuff? And again, next week, I am going to really get to the nitty gritty as to what you can do immediately in your family or with your family funds to ensure that you can come out on the other side as we talk about. So, as we know, earlier this week, Jerome Powell actually approved this 25 basis points interest rate hike. Um, and the FOMC doesn't expect the rates to get hiked anymore after this, but we don't know. But what I do know, and I pulled some quotes from Jerome Powell. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, as he raises the interest rates, it is designed to stop us from spending. And so, with that, it allows for no taxes on big box items, big ticket items, that those taxes are not gathered, those taxes don't go to our government, and some of those things. So they don't have the money that they need for some of the spending that they want to do. So Jerome Powell came in, and again, these are things that you can check on your own, but I'm just going to pull some of these things out from the report so you can understand how critically important it is that we pay attention right now to what they're saying about deposits in our bank accounts and deposit us as depositors, the FDIC and what they're insuring and what they have money left for and all of those things. But Jerome Powell said, I think depositors should assume that their deposits are safe. That is a quote, end quote. Assume that their deposits are safe. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but if in on 3/23/2023, our chairman, Jerome Powell, is saying we should assume that our deposits are safe, that's scary, ladies and gentlemen. And at that time, a reporter actually yelled out and asked, are you saying depositors will be bailed out? And then Powell replied to her and said, I'm not saying anything more than I'm saying. So I'm going to say, at that point. Another key quote was he stated, we no longer state that we anticipate an ongoing rate increase that will be appropriate to quell inflation. So he just raised the interest rates a couple of days ago. Then he turns around and says, we no longer state that we anticipate that ongoing rate increases will be appropriate to quell inflation. So he's just basically saying that his rate hikes and things of that sort haven't worked. So he's not even sure that they're going to be appropriate to quell inflation. So all this that they are infringing on us with the prices going up and all of those things to no avail based on this quote. But reading between the lines, let's just look past Powell's, I was calling them foul because a lot of this stuff is foul, but Powell's Fed speech that he said, it's safe to assume that the Fed's attempt to reduce inflation is over, because that's what he said. But of course, we know he did something earlier this week. But last week, the Feds added hundreds of billions of dollars to their balance sheet, ladies and gentlemen. It cannot stop this bank crisis without printing more money. We know when they print more money, there's other problems that come into play, and they have added hundreds of billions of dollars to their balance sheet. So a lot of venture capitalists are coming forward today stating that they're betting that the price of Bitcoin, which is why we're having this conversation, will actually reach $1 million within 90 days. Now, I don't think it's going to come to $1 million in 90 days, but I tell you that the price of Bitcoin, in my opinion as well, is going to continue to go up, because the more Americans really figure out what's going on in this banking system, how they're adding money to push towards kind of quieting down problems that they're having, at some point, you've got to do something. This is, in my opinion, this is what a Ponzi scheme looks like. You pay the people at the top, and then you take money from the bottom, and you just keep paying the people at the top until eventually there's no more money to pay anybody out. And that, it looks like, the direction that we're going. So there are going to be some issues. There are going to be some issues very, very soon. And so we've got to just, again, pay attention to the macro. But this position and this data from our financial disclosures of some of these banks, claiming that they indicate that the banks are insolvent and that monetary policy to save the banking sector will result in hyperinflation, driving a massive exit. And people are going to do a massive exit into things that they feel are safe. So that's going to be gold again, Bitcoin, and those sorts of things. And so it's just really interesting to see exactly what is going on. I don't feel like, again, Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million in 90 days, but I really feel like we're going to see it in our lifetime, or in my lifetime, because a lot of times I say, it's going to be our children's children that see Bitcoin really reach its potential. But the way we're going and the rate we're going, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to see it sooner, but not this summer, like he's saying. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward after news, sports, and traffic, we're going to jump into the cryptocurrency updates for the day. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Never in history have we been in a position where so many things are coming together at one time. And I talk about all the time this being the perfect storm.
let Kraken or Binance or any of those platforms keep your cryptocurrency, because if they go under or if they get hacked, your coin goes with it. I'm standing here letting you know that that has happened to us, and we did not get that money back. The regulators, even if they find out who they're supposed to go after, you know what they're telling those of us who lost money or lost Bitcoin on an exchange? They're going to give us 30% of our value. Well, now Bitcoin is 57,000. Are you giving us 30% of that 57,000 or 30% of what it was back when we lost it? And that was pennies. So that's what they're doing in this space, but somebody's got the Bitcoin and gone away. Never in history have we been in a position where so many things are coming together at one time. And I talk about all the time this being the perfect storm. Don't let Kraken or Binance or any of those platforms keep your cryptocurrency, because if they go under or if they get hacked, your coin goes with it. I'm standing here letting you know that that has happened to us, and we did not get that money back. The regulators, even if they find out who they're supposed to go after, you know what they're telling those of us who lost money or lost Bitcoin on an exchange? They're going to give us 30% of our value. Well, now Bitcoin is 57,000. Are you giving us 30% of that 57,000 or 30% of what it was back when we lost it? And that was pennies. So that's what they're doing in this space, but somebody's got the Bitcoin and gone away.
All right, welcome forward, welcome forward. Let's get into our market update for today. I am looking on our charts to just see where we are today with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is trading today at $27,706. That's this very moment. And it is down in the last hour 0.56%. And in the last 24 hours, it's down 2.06%. In the last 7 days, it's up 3.29%. And then we have Ethereum that follows the same exact pattern. $1,753.21. It's down in the last hour, 0.78%, and in the last 24 hours, 3.5%, and up in the last 7 days, 0.33%. And so each and every one of the other cryptocurrencies that we take a look at, the altcoins, alternative to Bitcoin, they actually have that same pattern going. If they're not all three red, they're at least two red, and then they've got the 7 day, which is still in the green. And so, again, as we talk about Bitcoin being the great godfather, great godfather of all cryptocurrencies, with their listed right now 23,000 cryptocurrencies out there, and there's well over 30,000 cryptocurrencies, because all cryptocurrencies are not listed on all the exchanges for one reason or another. And again, that does not make these cryptocurrencies valid. Just so we're clear, if coins are listed on coin market cap or any of these other platforms, it's probably because they paid to be there. Bitcoin would be the only one that was not paid to be there, because there is no centralized authority or company or CEO or anybody to pay for it. But every other cryptocurrency that is on coin market cap, you can bet your last dollar that they paid to be on here to bring validity to their actual project or their cryptocurrency. So again, being on coin market cap or any of these other ones, I'm not naming a whole bunch of them, but they pay to be there. So just so you know, and so those that haven't paid are not there. But our market cap is still looking about the same. We have $1.15 trillion in the cryptocurrency space right now. Again, that number is climbing as the banks continue to have turmoil. And I will tell you, just as we're sitting here on this show today, I got a text message that Deutsche Bank is in trouble. That is, Deutsche Bank is having some issues, and they're looking at what they're going to do about that, which again causes people to sort of panic and try to figure out what to do to pull their money that runs on banks. So I don't know what this is going to look like. And here we're going into another weekend. So we'll see, because they just made that announcement. We'll see what happens this weekend. But I can tell you that what we are trying to do is just make sure that your eyes and ears are open to the fact that this is not just a banking problem in America, but this is a banking problem around the world. And it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. All the bailouts and the things that they have been doing, the banks coming together to help bail out other banks, like this is really starting to snowball like a little bitty avalanche. We're right now in a little avalanche, and things are happening around us. And so, one of the things that I do want to share with you all about news and what is going on in the space is that despite are hearing negative things about cryptocurrency coming up again through some of our leaders, the NASDAQ, ladies and gentlemen, have decided to launch their crypto custody service for Bitcoin and Ethereum, not next year, not in 5 years, this year. They are getting ready to try to custody your Bitcoin and your Ethereum, and they're going to integrate this system into their new digital assets arm. Now, you think if the banks are telling, or not, the banks aren't telling everybody, but our government and different individuals are talking about how terrible and volatile cryptocurrencies are and all those things. Um, if they're telling everybody this, then again, we sit back and we ask ourselves, why is the NASDAQ trying to launch a crypto custody service for Bitcoin and Ethereum? I'm going to tell you this. Number one, so they can be holders of your Bitcoin and your Ethereum, because you see the name NASDAQ, you trust it, You trust all the things that they've done over the years, but they should not be in custody of your Bitcoin or your Ethereum. However, individuals that are in that whole Wall Street uh, ecosystem will be trusting NASDAQ to hold on to their Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm going to say, without really knowing what this entails, that if they have custody of that Bitcoin, if and when someone decides that that Bitcoin needs to be taken back, they will be able to do it because it will already be in the custody of those individuals on Wall Street, because this is NASDAQ that will be launching this crypto custody service. I submit to you, if Bank of America, which I know they have a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency division, as well as Chase Bank, I know that they have a crypto division. If they are also offering crypto custody, I submit to you that you please not utilize those particular services. While they may be great banks, I do not think that they are great enough to be custodying our coin in a system that is supposed to be about decentralization and self-sovereignty. And so as these companies come on, joining the ranks of Fidelity Investment, which I have begged people, and again, Fidelity is not a bad company. Their investments are not bad investments. However, I am really, really against the fact that we allow people to hold on to something that we can finally do on our own. Also, BNY Mellon, they are custodying people's coin along with BlackRock. And BlackRock owns, man, if you take a look at what BlackRock owns in this country, is absolutely crazy. But BlackRock is also custodying or has a custody service for people. And I hate to call people lazy, but I have met several people that say, I'll just allow it to stay on the exchange, or I'll allow one of these custody type services to really custody my coin because I don't have to think about it that way. Well, no, you don't have to think about it. And they know that you're not thinking about it. And so when that time comes, when they fold or whatever happens, they get hacked or whatever happens, they already know that you're in a position where you didn't want to custody it anyway, so they can probably get away with it coming up missing from you. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, again, NASDAQ is right now on point to custody those coins for you if you like, but I am suggesting that you don't do that. So when we come forward, ladies and gentlemen, we will jump into the conversation about what we should be doing over the next couple of weeks, because we have some things that you need to know, and we're going to share that information with you when we come forward. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Never in history have we been in a position where so many things are coming together at one time. And I talk about all the time this being the perfect storm.
Don't let Kraken or Binance or any of those platforms keep your cryptocurrency, because if they go under or if they get hacked, your coin goes with it. I'm standing here letting you know that that has happened to us, and we did not get that money back. The regulators, even if they find out who they're supposed to go after, you know what they're telling those of us who lost money or lost Bitcoin on an exchange? They're going to give us 30% of our value. Well, now Bitcoin is 57,000. Are you giving us 30% of that 57,000 or 30% of what it was back when we lost it? And that was pennies. So that's what they're doing in this space, but somebody's got the Bitcoin and gone away.
Hey, Sonia, if you're still watching. Hey, hey, hey. We're coming back in just a second here. So bear with us. We're going to talk about cryptocurrency being banned in China and how people are getting around it. And I want to caution our community. All right, welcome forward. And at this portion of our show, we do a Ask Najah Roberts sort of a segment. And a couple people have asked me, is it legal to change your IP address in order to get on an exchange? So let me just explain where this question is coming from. It has just been announced that Binance, which is an exchange, is having their employees and volunteers tell people how to bypass the ban in China. So, cryptocurrency has been banned in China, but people are still wanting to get access to cryptocurrency. So, Binance employees and supporters that are volunteering have taken to social media to tell people to change their IP address so that it doesn't look like they're in China. That being said, if you're here in the United States, I'm not talking about China, but here in the United States, people will tell you to get on an exchange that you're not allowed to participate in because they don't have authorization to do business in the United States. So if you log on to a VPN, let's just say you're using Binance.com as opposed to BinanceUS.com. If you're using Binance, that is illegal. Binance cannot be utilized in the United States for United States residents. You have to use Binance US. But some people log on the computer, they change their IP address using what's called a VPN, a virtual private network, and they show that they're in another country. That is actually illegal for us. If we are United States residents and we are using a platform that has not been allowed to do business in the United States, that's an issue. So I want to make sure that everybody is safe, their funds are safe, that their funds don't get confiscated or anything like that. But you can use BinanceUS.com, but not Binance. That being stated, if you are logging into any account here in the United States, you're allowed to do business here, but you have an address that's out of the country because maybe you have an address in the Bahamas, or maybe you have an address in Costa Rica or Belize or someplace like that. That is permissible as long as you're not having to enter that site using a VPN. So I want to make sure that I'm clear. If you have to use a VPN and change your location to say that you're not in the United States, 9 times out of 10, the platform that you are trying to access is not permissible or is not able to do business here in the United States. And if that is the case, and you're not doing a KYC, know your customer, that's when you give them your ID, your proof of residency, and all of those things, then that also poses a problem because it looks like you're engaging in money laundering. Or or you are engaging in illegal activity. And I'll just say it that way. So we want to make sure that we're safe because most of us, almost all of us, are here and not doing anything ill-willed. So we want to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And I don't want to see anyone get in trouble for participating in a platform that has not been allowed to do business here in the United States. So again, the last thing I'm going to reiterate, if you log into whatever website that you're logging into, fine, without a VPN, without changing your location, and you change your address to an out of the country address, that's fine. But it's those sites that you have to go in, telling them that you're from another location in order to use that platform. That is a big no-no. And so I want to make sure that we're clear on that. And every site I would suggest that you get on, you need to do a KYC because you don't want your dollars to get tied up along with theirs if they get dinged by the SEC or anybody else for not doing their due diligence with KYC, which is Know Your Customer. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that that helped answer that question. I just want to share a couple of different events that we have coming up here very, very shortly. And again, I am going to be in Houston, Texas this weekend and Monday and Tuesday. So I may have to change the date for Mission Critical. So please stand by and stay tuned to hear exactly what we need to do, because the only flight out I could get, I think I'm going to be able to make it, but we're going to make sure. So we're going to do a Mission Critical, and we're actually going to go deeper into some of the things that I've not, really shared as to what I'm doing with me and my family and Najah's next moves. And so that's what we're going to do. And right now it's tentatively scheduled for March 28th, which is next Tuesday. Again, we may change the time and or the date. I'll keep you posted and you'll know on Monday. But we also have a Crypto Essential that's coming on April the 8th. And we have a Ledger and Me 123 that's coming on April 22nd. So all of your friends and family that you know that need to get just the basics, they can always go to KBLA1580.com and listen to some past shows, like way back 2022 at the beginning. I have 8-part series that really go over the crypto essentials, but a lot of people just want to get something that's up to date. Obviously, because so many things change in this cryptocurrency space. And I say to you, it is absolutely fine for you to gather your friends and family around to do a crypto essential, because they're going to need it, and we're going to need it sooner than later. And so we're also preparing for the Digital Financial Revolution Tour. We will be leaving in June of 2023, traveling across this country, trying to hit as many inner city locations as we can, teaching financial literacy to each and every one of our communities. So we're going to start that, and we are in the planning stages for the DFR tour. So you can go to the DFRtour.com and get that information. And I'm just really excited about things, ladies and gentlemen. So when we come forward, we will continue with our daily dollar cost average. We are just 6 days away from taking a look at what the numbers are. And the numbers are the numbers. Numbers don't lie. So when we come forward, we will do our DCA a day, which will keep poverty away from my household. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, when we come forward, this is KBLA Talk 1580.
Never in history have we been in a position where so many things are coming together at one time. And I talk about all the time this being the perfect storm. Don't let Kraken or Binance or any of those platforms keep your cryptocurrency, because if they go under or if they get hacked, your coin goes with it. I'm standing here letting you know that that has happened to us, and we did not get that money back. The regulators, even if they find out who they're supposed to go after, you know what they're telling those of us who lost money or lost Bitcoin on an exchange? They're going to give us 30% of our value. Well, now Bitcoin is 57,000. Are you giving us 30% of that 57,000 or 30% of what it was back when we lost it? And that was pennies. So that's what they're doing in this space, but somebody's got the Bitcoin and gone away.
All right, welcome forward. Welcome forward. I am just really happy about what I'm seeing. I cannot wait to reveal these numbers to each and every one of you. In fact, my mom asked a question because she listens every day. She asked a question about if I have started gathering the numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited about what this $6 a day looks like. I can't even explain to you how excited I am for those of you that have started saving the $6 a day. That keeps poverty away, because that's what I'm doing. And so we have this report. We're just going to be plugging in these last couple of days. And on April 1st, I am going to disclose how much I've spent in $6 for 365 days, and then how many Satoshis I hold, because it's not going to be a whole Bitcoin. We already know that. It's just a fractional part of Bitcoin. And then we're going to do that. So April 1st is the day that that's going to be revealed. So I just want to make sure I'm saying that, because we are ready. I'm excited. That database has already been put together. We just got to add these last couple of days, and we're going to do this thing. So right now, we are going to ask each and every one of you to take out your cell phone, and you're going to go to the Black Wall Street wallet so you can just see what I am doing. I'm doing my $6 worth of Satoshis, a Satoshi being the smallest increment of a Bitcoin, like a penny is the smallest increment of a dollar. Just like little teeny nuggets are smallest increments of a whole ounce of gold or a bullion. So you're buying fractional parts of Bitcoin. And so I'm buying fractional parts of Bitcoin. So take out that wallet, ladies and gentlemen. There's a purple circle in the middle, and it has two arrows. You're going to click on that. You're going to click on continue, and then you're going to buy asset. You're going to click on buy asset. And once you click on that buy asset, it's going to take you to a screen where you can put in whatever the amount is. I'm going to click on $6. You can do this one time. You can do this daily. You can do it monthly. You can set it up. You can forget it. But I am doing this the same time every single day. It's either right on air or right after air, right after I'm off air, just depending on how I'm having to disseminate this information. And today, I'm going to wait till right after we get off air. However, you're going to I'm clicking $6, and this is going to be one time because I'm doing it manually. And I'm going to click continue, and voila, that's all it takes, ladies and gentlemen, for you to purchase Satoshis. Now, again, I'm all about accessibility. So if you're doing this on the Black Wall Street wallet, because you're listening to me, that's absolutely fine. If you're doing it on Cash App, if you're doing it anywhere else, as long as you are getting your fractional pieces of Satoshis, fractional pieces of Bitcoin being those Satoshis, I am super excited for you. Doesn't matter where you get it. It's just if you can get it and stack up as much as possible and make sure that you're putting it in your own wallet ultimately, so that you have access to it and nobody else has access to it. Not your keys, not your coin. Not your keys, not your cheese, as Isaiah Jackson just so eloquently says. So, ladies and gentlemen, please don't touch that dial. We are making way for the D.L. Hughley Show. I want to thank each and every one of you for rocking with me, your host, Najah Roberts, on Ahead of the Crypto Curve, where we are creating Satoshi millionaires, one family at a time, one day at a time, one Bitcoin at a time, one Satoshi at a time. And ladies and gentlemen, that means you.
You're listening to Najah Roberts on Ahead of the Crypto Curve. Please follow her on all social media platforms at Najah Roberts. No underscores, no dots, no numbers, just Najah Roberts. Let's close the wealth gap. It's our turn. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Learn or get left behind. Create your own economy. Let's get ahead of the crypto curve.